All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to MolarGold. Today we are going to do the morning analysis right here, and also probably I'll come live in the afternoon. All right. Yeah. So let's dive into the market. Let's not waste time. Let's dive into the market. But before we will do that, if today is your first time, please don't forget like, comment, and subscribe so that anytime I come live or I do a new video, you will be notified immediately. All right, let's get it rolling. Let's get it rolling. Okay, what happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips, and it was so crazy. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? Yeah. What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips before I move and it was so crazy. Let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? Yeah. What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips and it was so crazy. The first thing, let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? Yeah. What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips and it was so crazy. The first thing, let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? Yeah. What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips and it was so crazy. The first thing, let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? Yeah. What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips and it was so crazy. The first thing, let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? Yeah. What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips and it was so crazy. The first thing, let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? Yeah. What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips and it was so crazy. The first thing, let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? Yeah. What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips and it was so crazy. The first thing, let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips and it was so crazy. The first thing, let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips and it was so crazy. The first thing, let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so much pips and it was so crazy. The first thing, let's share the link. However, some people don't get it when we do things like this, right? What happened last week? Last week was crazy. We made so I think now it should go off entirely. I think now it should go off entirely. If it's off, please let me know. If it's off, please let me know. All right. So I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do this. Is the noise off? Is the noise off? Is the noise off now? Is the noise off now? All right, let me continue. Let me continue. Aha, it's off. Good, 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 good. So now let's go on. So, like I was saying, these 5 waves, we would delete that, and we're going to use this WXYXZ structure that we used earlier on. We used it already, right? W, X, Y, X, and Z right here. Okay, so this structure actually completed right there. All right, we did a completion. Oh, sorry, we did a completion right here. Yeah, we did a completion right here. And we had a triangle, a diagonal. So nothing has actually changed. I told you guys already. When you check the main channel, you are going to see all of this right in there. All right, we have that. Okay, so we have this already, W, X, Y, X, and Z. The Z is here. You can call it Z or Z. Yeah. Okay. So this is basically it. And this is the triangle that we drew. We drew this triangle. If you remember, we did this triangle. We drew it this way. All right. And I told you that triangle will be a diagonal. That is an ending diagonal. All right. So that will be in 5, but in black degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In black degree. All right. So this how that will look like. This will look like this in black degree, just like this. Okay. So we have this beautiful setup, and price have actually started. But then we saw something and we said, okay, we have to shift. However, shifting on that also means that we have to be very, very careful. Okay, and we did that. Please, if today is your first time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that anytime I come live, you will be notified immediately. Okay, perfect, good. So this is what we have. This is what we have. All right, earlier on, this is the structure. We've not changed anything. Nothing has changed actually. Okay, so price is making the real move. I have told you guys this, that some of the things may happen, and you can see now we have this going to the downside. If I look into this, I can see some moves like waves, right? Yeah, and that can be a 5-wave triangle. That is an expanding triangle, right? This can be an expanding triangle right there. So the triangle actually expanded. It did an expansion. So we are going to make it like this. All right. So this also should come this way. All right. So this is what is happening. Now you can see clearly that we have this with 1, with 2. This should be with 3, with 4, and then we are going for it with 5. All right, we are going for it with 5 right here. So this can be one of the possibilities. And this is our major trade idea. We want this thing to go to the downside. It has to go to the downside. All right, that's our major idea, that this should continue and go to the downside. So earlier on, yesterday night, last week, I showed you guys that we have this EPUI right here in the 15 minutes. I showed you guys that we have this EPUI right here. Once price made a move, it entered into this EPUI and started to drop slowly. So now price is dropping slowly, but we understand one thing. One thing is always sure. All right? It's dropping. It's coming down. We can only make a buy move once price gets here. For here, it's a 50-50 chance. But here, it's likely that we're going to have a full reaction right here. Okay? And now let's go back to this area and we are going to understand what is really happening. Even if this wants to go to the upside, even if it wants to go to the upside, it's actually creating a kind of structure that is very interesting. We call it the expanded or running flat. One of them is going to fall. All right, so it's either going to be expanded flat or a running flat. You see, we have this. So this and that and that. So we broke the top and we can break the bottom before going upside, or we will not break the bottom and then we'll go. So you see, it actually flows in the SMC I have already drawn. It actually flows in it. Either we would reject right here or we would reject somewhere here. So it flows in it. Okay, it arrives in it. So that's the interesting part of this work. All right, that's the interesting part. So now let's get into the action. So if this one will even kick in any form of buys, the buy will start probably from here, this low, or it will start from this low. That is what I showed you right here. We're either starting the buy from this area or from that area. These are the areas where we can start doing the buys. All right, and I gave the call early yesterday. All right, yesterday around 7 p.m. That was when I called this sell trade right here. I called this sell trade right here. And what happened? Price is now flowing over 500 pips. Somewhere around 1, 2 thereabouts, I called these 2 buy counter trends. That gave us 250 pips each. Right? Yeah. So once you start to understand what really is happening, you'll be interested in looking at these kinds of trades. So what next? Here, something is not sitting right. That is why we switch back to the main idea. Okay, yeah, wave 4 can never enter the price territory of wave 1, and it has happened. Okay, it has entered into the price territory of wave 1. It has entered into it. So that has actually messed up the whole setup. And because of that, this cannot be classified as impulse anymore, but rather as a correction. And that is why we are switching. Okay, that is why we are switching. All right, so that is that for today. That is that for today. Okay, Yeah. We also starting a new challenge. A new challenge. You can chat the MolarGold bot so that you get the information on the new challenge. You can chat the MolarGold bot at MolarGoldX underscore bot. MolarGoldX underscore bot. Let me write it on the screen right here. So this is MolarGold MolarGoldX underscore bot. So you can chat the bot. You can chat the bot to join the new challenge. All right, join the new challenge. All right, and it's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be fantastic. If today is your first time, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification. So anytime I come live or upload a new video, you will be notified immediately. At this point, I would like to say bye. My name is Dr. Mola.